Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vamsharishibhyo Namo Gurubhyaha. In this 12th session on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, we are going to go back to the 4th chapter, but this time the 3rd Brahmana. The 3rd Brahmana is one of the excellent pieces of spiritual discussion. It is called Jyotir Brahmana. For this Brahmana, which means a section, talks about the Swayam Jyotishtva of the Atma. The pure self, the true nature of every one of us, is by itself effulgent. Swayam Jyoti it is. And this is, in the Vedanta Shastra, a very important topic. For you and I, in this egoistic existence, are always afraid of being in the dark, being in ignorance. Don't we feel offended sometimes when something is not informed to us? Everybody seems to know, but I don't know it. This is so unfair. This is so unjust. I have been let down, and so on. From childhood onwards, one of the aspects of insecurity that all of us feel in our human life is being in the dark. I am not in light. I am in darkness. Vedanta actually dismisses that whole idea. That idea, I am in the dark, I am therefore in danger, I am therefore more incomplete than ever before, are all aspects of this false Jiva Bhava. Maharshi Ramana would say, before you say, I am kept in the dark, find out who is kept in the dark. Somebody is kept in the dark. And that being kept in the dark is not a happy thing, right? But imagine that entity which is kept in the dark is not you. Somebody is stabbed and you know that you are not stabbed. Yesterday there was a jocular episode that came to me from somewhere. Some man, this really happened in some European country, was anyhow mentally disturbed. He drank and he took some drugs and his case got worse. He left home and vanished. In fact, without planning, he actually ended up in some jungle-like place and half-conscious. But anyhow, the influence of those drugs was coming down. He was sort of getting back to normal. And he sort of realized that, hey, where have I come? And he was planning to return home. Meanwhile, what happened in the town was his wife got so worried. She went and complained to the police, and she had some influence. She actually got some bunch of people go and search for her husband who was missing. And those people actually came to that jungle area. And this fellow was somewhere near some tree. And they were looking for this lost man. And he sort of understood that these people are looking for some lost person. He also joined them and said, I will help you. Let us see where that lost man is. So he was also trying to help them. And after 5 or 10 minutes only, he realized that the man for whom they were looking was not somebody else, for it was he only. Because initially he just, out of paropakara buddhi, I will also help you, he joined. And they too didn't realize that this is the man whom we have to find. So after some time, when they said, we don't know where Nicholas has gone, this Nicholas is missing, and we don't know what happened to him. Then he said, what did you say the name of the man is for whom you are looking? They said, Nicholas. And then he said, oh, I am Nicholas. So this came in one of the newspapers. So you see, this Atmajnana, or the distinction between who I am and who I am not. There is some resemblance, I'm sure you thought about, with our 10th man's story. The 10th man is believed to be dead, and every one of the 10 fools counts the other, misses out himself, and finally they understand. Everybody understands. When I counted, I was the 10th man. So all these are to be not taken lightly. They have serious significance. And you know, Vedanta is not about going from story to story and some illustration which could be beautiful from a literary point of view to another illustration. It's not time pass like that. Vedanta is seriously about destroying the idea of our being this personality. The personality does go into darkness and get back to knowledge. At the level of the personality, there are 100 things you and I know and 1,000,000 things you and I don't know. So if we think about what we don't know, our heart sinks. And occasionally, when we notice what we know, we are proud. Our heart swells with pride. So, this intuitive understanding, what knowledge, what ignorance, what light, what darkness. I am the light of all lights. I am the light, and these ideas of I am kept in the dark, I am losing, I am a failure, I am some negative expression, all of them bundled together are to be smiled at. For they don't apply to me, the real I, the true I, not just words. There is a certain insight that dawns upon us. Negating the anatma, negating what we are not, is not a child's play. Therefore, a proper Shastra Adhyayana, that is Shravana, and a proper Manana and then Nididhyasana are required. In the light of this general introduction, let us take a couple of slides and see how a certain selected mantra, mantra number 6, from the 3rd Brahmana of the 4th chapter, Chaturtha Adhyaya, Tritiyam Brahmanam Tatra Shashtaha Mantraha. This is what we are going to now see. So here is the first slide. We always have been presenting a title slide. In the title slide, we just take a short part of the whole mantra which is under consideration. In this 12th class on Brihadaranyaka Upanishad from Shukla Yajurveda, on this day of October 22, 2021, our theme is putting generally, you are the light of all lights. But to translate the portion of the mantra that we have highlighted, the self alone, Atma eva, is one's light. Asya jyotir bhavati. Many of you have heard what is called Eka Shloki of Adi Shankaracharya, attributed to Adi Shankaracharya, or maybe it is written later by some other Shankaracharya, doesn't matter. But there is an Eka Shloki. Eka Shloki is a genre of verses where a single verse has much to say, and what is more, that single verse goes to the core of the teachings. So this Swayam Jyotishtva, every one of us simply cannot be in misery. Any misery in terms of not having the required knowledge, not having the required wealth, not having the required health, any misery like not having enough power, enough freedom, blah, blah, all of them are actually in the avidya bhumi. When that awakening takes place, seer after seer, realized soul after realized soul have this to say to us. When you wake up, you will laugh at all those times when you were crying for power, money, freedom, this, that. You don't need anything. You are complete. So Eka Shloki is a popular, much sung verse. And let me read that for you, sing that for you. In Sardula Vikridita Chandaha, there is this Eka Shloki. Kim Jyotir Bhanuman Ahanime Ratrau Pradipadikam Syadevam Ravideepa Darshana Vidhau Kim Jyotirakhyahime Chakshustasya Nimilanati Samaye Kim Dhihi Dhiyo Darshane Tatraivaahamato Bhavan Paramakam Jyotihi Tadasmi Prabho. This shloka expressed as a dialogue between a teacher and a student. And the student surely must be so advanced, so receptive, full of shama, dhamma, and so on. You know, there are these qualities. Shama, dhamma, uparama, titiksha, shraddha, samadhana. In fact, in the next class, we are going to take that portion of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. There is a mantra which give all these 6 Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti. So the student here represented in the Eka Shloki must be Shantaha, Dantaha, Uparataha, Titikshuhu, Shraddhavittaha, Samahitaha. All those qualities. Therefore, he catches fire so quickly. So the teacher asks, Kim Jyoti? It appears this Eka Shloki is inspired by the mantra of Brihadaranyaka Upanishad that we are dwelling on in this session. Kim Jyotihi is the teacher's question. The student says, Bhanuman Ahani. During daytime, it is the sun, he is the Jyoti. in whose light we see things. And Ratrau, at night, in this verse he doesn't mention the moon. In the Brihadaranyaka mantra we will get the moon and fire and so on. But the student says various lamps, Pradeepa Adikam. The teacher, you can imagine, smiles and says, Syat, be it so, let it be so. Syat evam, let it be that way. Tell me one thing, whether it is the sun or some lamp, Ravi Deepa Darshana Vidhau, how do you actually know that here is a lamp, over there is a sun? The student says, well, Chakshuhu, that is the answer. The teacher again smiles. Tasya nimilanadi samaye. When you open your eyes and when you close your eyes, what is the light? Meaning, how do you know you have opened your eyes? How do you know you have closed your eyes? The student says, well, Dhihi, it is my buddhi. I have a working intellect. The intellect knows, I opened my eyes and there was a lamp. And in the light of that lamp, I saw this cat who was drinking milk, etc. So, Dhihi, this teacher again smiles and says, all right, Dhiyo Darshane, in your intellect, thoughts arise and subside, rise and fall. What helps you? What lamp, what light, what principle of knowing helps you know those thoughts? In the Ekashloki, we arrive at the culmination here. The student says, Tatra, well, if you ask me how I know my thoughts, well, I know my thoughts. I know, I don't need my thoughts, I know. I am the light. Tatra eva aham jyoti. Dhiyo darshane aham eva jyoti. Then the teacher says, does it not prove to you now? Bhavan paramakam jyotihi. You are the supreme light, oh dear. And the shloka ends with acknowledgement from the student. Tat asmi prabho. O Lord, O Master, I am indeed the light, the supreme light. In the light of my existence, thoughts are known. In the light of thoughts, an external lamp is known, or opening and closing of eyes is known. In the opening and lamps and moon and sun are known. When there are lamps or sun or moon, various objects are known. So, making possible any knowledge, first of all, I am of the nature of light. Kim jyotirbhanumana hanime ratrau pradipadikam syadevam ravideepa darshana vidau kim jyotirakhyahime chakshustasya nimilanadi samaye kim dhirdhiyo darshane tatrayvahamato paramakam bhavan paramakam jyotistadasmi prabho. How in a single shloka so much is packed in, but I warn you once more, don't just be carried away by the poetry, by the singing, by the chanting, by the music, by the illustration, by some dramatic setting. Don't be carried away by thoughts of, oh, we Indians had all this great wisdom. All of it is true, but your liberation will not take place if you take pride in the music, this, lyrics and being Indian, Eastern wisdom. All of them at best can be kind of, they give you a booster in morale. They lift your morale, very good. But if you want to really get free of all the shackles of ignorance, you have to walk away from mere literary appreciation or mere comparison. East is better than West, Hinduism is better than some other religion. Maybe, But those stuff won't take you to liberation. In a certain measure, you may have it by the side, but primarily, if you are a mumukshu, get going in the clear understanding of how I am ever complete. I cannot be suffering from even the last or the least trace of being not knowledgeable. I don't know enough maths, I don't know enough language, I don't know geography, I don't know how to sing, I don't know this. 1,000 forms of I don't know normally torment us. Even if you become a Swami, you will have a feeling sometimes that other Swami speaks on Brahma Sutras. I don't know enough to talk on Brahma Sutras. Hey Ram. Actually, what Brahma Sutras or what Upanishads say to you is, this thought, I am ignorant, is a play of the mind. You are the light of all lights. But how? By simply saying, I am the light of all lights, and if I dance in my room, will it help? Of course, no. Therefore, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And I tell you, in this session, we are going to open up a certain dimension with the help of Shankara's incisive commentary. Let's go to the next slide now, where we have the whole original mantra. As you see, it is the 6th mantra. That means 5 mantras have already passed. For your convenience, I will give you the background. The 3rd Brahmana of the 4th Adhyaya begins with King Janaka one day saw Yājnavalkya coming. And it's interesting, there is a touch of humor or whatever you call it. Yājnavalkya, I believe, had no intention to either ask anything or say anything. He just came to see King Janaka and he thought, today I'll just be silent. If something is going on, they are discussing something. In a king's court, sometimes, something is on. I will just watch. I have nothing to say. I have nothing to ask. I just want to join them in whatever they are doing. Maybe there is a dance. Maybe there is a poet who will some poetry, sing some poetry. I will listen to it. Even if it is a discussion of political nature between the ministers and the king, I will watch, I will listen. That kind of, it is said, Samene Navadishye. However, things were not easy for Yājnavalkya. The first mantra, we have to go to 6th mantra, but the first mantra here says, Janaka saw when Yājnavalkya has come, I should take this opportunity to get knowledge from him. But then he noticed that Yājnavalkya was sitting so quietly. Then Janaka remembered on an earlier occasion somewhere, something happened and Yājnavalkya had said that time to Janaka, ask for any boon. And Janaka said, I don't want any boon except the boon, vara, of permission from you to ask a question anytime, anywhere. And Yājnavalkya had tatastu. So based on that boon, it is called the Kama Prashna. Kama means whenever you want, Kama, whenever you desire, you can ask a question. Kama Prashna was given as a boon to Janaka on some occasion, some time back. Janaka encashes that boon and says, Yājnavalkya, Kim Jyotihi Ayam Purushaha. In Sanskrit, even the interrogative pronoun Kim can be made part of a compound. Kim Jyotihi Ayam Purusha. It's difficult to translate literally this into English, but what it means is, going a little roundabout, what does the Purusha, any man here, Purusha means any man or woman, what does any of us really have as the light with them? Or further taking liberty with the structure of the sentence, what light do we have with us to know things? Otherwise, Kim Jyotihi is a Bahuvrihi compound. Kim Jyotihi Yasya Saha. So, it's not possible to translate it exactly that way. What is the light with this person, man or woman? So therefore, we have said he or she in the translation that you will soon see. And now quickly, Yājnavalkya says, you see, the sun is the light for any man, any woman walking on the earth. When there is the sun, one is able to see things. You and I, especially in cold countries, cold places, when there is beautiful sunshine, you are so happy, you come out. In Solan, Himachal Pradesh, it's getting colder slowly. And a couple of days it rained and all dark and cold. Then there was sunshine. One after today was a very sunny day. And I was so happy, but I had work to do. But evening 5:30, I said, it's still bright. And when it is bright, sunlight, when it is bright, I will now take a walk. But then my servant maid was to come. I said, let her come clean the house, then I'll go. And that lady didn't come. 6 o'clock, didn't come. At 6:30, didn't come even 7 o'clock. I said, I haven't gone out at all. Now in the dark I went. No fun. Going in the dark is no enjoyment. But I had to meet somebody, collect some things. I went some distance, 10 minutes up, 10 minutes down. Aditya, especially when temperature is low, some sunshine is so enjoyable. Otherwise also, even in hot Bombay and hot Mangalore, Chennai, sun is the source of a lot of energy indirectly, you know that. But then there is an expression, Janaka says, Astamite Aditye. Astam ite. E means to go. When Aditya has gone down, sun sets, what light does a man or a woman have? Yājnavalkya says it is Chandramaha. And then it is in the light of Chandrama, the moon, and 4 verbs are used. I better explain them now itself because they will come later. It is there in the mantra in the slide here. Chandramasa eva ayam jyotisha aste. One is able to sit. Palyayate. One is able to get up and go. Karma kurute. One does various actions. And vipalyeti. One comes back. One went, did things and came back. All because there is moonlight. Then when Chandrama also is absent, what is the light for us human beings? Yājnavalkya says, Agnihi. No need to explain, fire burning. And these days, various forms of electric lamps, figuratively, are forms of fire. Then, Astamite Aditye, Astamite Chandramasi, Astamite Shante Agnau Kim Jyotihi. Yājnavalkya says, walk. This is a bit confusing to readers who straight away read the mantra and try to understand. How can speech be some sort of light? Adi Shankara explains simply but very clearly. Speech here means sound. If everything is so dark, no sun, no moon, no lamp, electricity has failed, then, especially in village settings, you come out of the house, You hear a dog barking. Bow, bow, bow. Now you know, oh, okay. Or some two people are talking. So some sound that you hear, that is vak. And Adi Shankara himself says, by saying vak, gandha ityadi upalakshitaha. Sometimes you are in utter darkness, but you smell something. And then you know, oh, because you know the area. I have come very near that Parijata plant or this jasmine plant. I can smell that flower. There is only one plant in our neighborhood, and I have come very near. So you know where you have come, how to go forward. Gandha or sparsha or shabda. Rupa not possible. Shabda, sparsha, gandha, rasa. Sometimes, yes, you pick up something that your hand touches and eat, then you may figure out where you are. So, walk is in that sense. You don't speak, but you hear some sound. Now comes the question. That is what we have taken. Let's come to the sixth mantra. Janaka asks, Astamite aditye. Astam gate. Mite agat. Ite and gate are same. Astam gate or astam ite. Astam gate aditye. Chandramasi astam ite. Agnau shante. Shanta also is it. Fire has died down. Vachi shantayam. See how there is a beautiful process which is approved by the Shastras. This is called Shruti Mataha Tarkaha. Dustarkat Suviramyatam. Shruti Matas Tarkaha Anusandhiyatam says Sadhana Panchakam. All of you have studied that little work. Dustarkat Suviramyatam. Don't do false arguments. Dustarka. Go for such arguments, such logic, which are approved by the Shastras, and it's not that you blindly go through them. They are actually so helpful. When you go through them, you will love it. They have been given by the Shastra with a lot of insight. Just as a very developed smartphone, even as you use a manual or somehow find out various features. Nowadays, you find features of a very, very well-conceived software. And you don't complain. Why do I have to see what they have designed? Please see, and you will find every one of them will be so useful to you. You can do this, you can do that, you can do this. And they seem to be addressing your needs. The software these days or the hardware these days address number of our needs. We think of, I wish I could take this picture and put it in a circle. And there is a button, go there. And it says, you want to put the picture in a circle, you want to put this picture in an octagon or in a hexagon, whatever. All options are there. This is exactly what I wanted. Whoa, you click. And a picture of Ganesha now is in a circular enclosure, not usual rectangular square. You are happy. Shastra is 1,000 times more than that. It addresses our needs. Why do you want to go some other place and break your head and get lost? So, Janaka represents Shruti Mataha Tarkaha. Now comes the fantastic answer of Yājnavalkya. Yājnavalkya apparently was waiting for this. And he answers, Atma eva asya jyotihi bhavati. Really speaking, you don't need any other light. You are the light. In his commentary, bits and pieces of it we will see now, Adi Shankara makes a good case for dream as the setting. In dream, you find all sorts of things. In dream, practically everything that you see in waking state are seen, experienced. Hills and rivers and sun and moon and stars, dance and music and so on. But actually you might be at that time sleeping in a very dark room, pitch dark, eyes closed, with a blanket to avoid mosquito bite. There are some sleep with blanket covering them fully. I always wonder how they can. I can't. Even if I put a thin sheet covering my nose, I get suffocated. But there are some who have some magical power. Anyway, completely covered. And in your dream, the whole place is well lit. This is an interesting scenario. Therefore, one of the commentators, probably drawing from Shankara only, writes a footnote. In the second Brahmana of this fourth Adhyaya, the pure self was presented using Agama, a scriptural revelation. Here it is, Lelo, take it. In this third Brahmana, which we are now seeing, Jyotir Brahmana, the truth of the pure self is presented using logic. Upapatti, it is called. Upapatti is another word for tarka. Agamataha yat proktam dvitiye brahmane tadeva upapattitaha aduna uchyate prochyate. And what is the logic here? The Tippanikara says, don't think only Mandukya Upanishad talks about Avastatraya or Prashnopanishad talks about Avastatraya, Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. In such portions, several of such portions exist in Brihadaranyaka. The Viveka of Avastatraya is employed for you to shift your understanding from being the personality to being the light, being something which appears in waking state, which appears as the waking state, which appears as the dream, and which doesn't appear as this or that. In deep sleep, you are the pure self itself. Atma eva asya jyotir bhavati, Atmana eva ayam jyotisha. By the light, which is no other than the pure self. To say the pure self has light also will be not so proper. The pure self is of the nature of light. It's of the nature of existence. And Sat and Chit, existence and consciousness, are not two. Sadeva Chit, Chideva Sat. Atmana eva ayam naraha, iyam nariva. Maybe a man, maybe a woman, maybe a child, doesn't matter. Every one of us actually are able to stay alive, for we are the life principle. Modern medicine and all these, worldly subjects make us again and again believe that we may lose our life. And by taking this medicine or by going for that surgery, by doing that exercise, we can extend our life. The whole idea of we are here to die is in the avidya bhumi. You actually do not die. And this bodily existence is not your existence actually. Atmana Jyotisha, by the light that is no other than the pure self, Aste, one is sitting. Palyayate, one goes. Karma Kurute, one does things. Vipalyeti, one comes back. Perhaps Vipalyeti is an alternative form of Viparyeti. Because Vi is a well-known Upasarga, Pari is also a well-known Upasarga, Pari. And in the Vedic language, especially, there is a saying. Akhandananda Saraswati writes in one of his books, Ralayor abhedaha. Ra and La have no difference. When there was Ra, Pari, it became Pali. Pali plus eti, yansandi, Palyeti. Viparyeti, Vipalyeti. And Swami Akhandananda Saraswati of Vrindavan was so good-humored. He says, you see, that is how Lasa is also dance. Rasa, Rasa Garbha, Rasa Vrindavan, Krishna's Rasa Leela. So Lasa, Rasa, then he comments, that is what became in English dance. Lasa, Rasa, Dansa. That is his mischief. Anyway, Vipalyeti iti. So there is a lot of significance here. We go to Shankara Bhashya now. How he, before that English translation, Janaka says or asks, when the sun has set Yājnavalkya, and the moon has set, and the fire has gone out, and speech has stopped, what light does a person here have? Once more, this is a translation I took from Sarvepalli Radhakrishnan in his fairly big book, The Principal Upanishads, where I think some 12 or 16 Upanishads he has translated, given some short notes, and so on. Yājnavalkya answers, the self indeed. Radhakrishnan writes his light, but today we have to, wherever possible, make it clear. It's not man's world. The world belongs equally to men and women. Now, every second day we get wonderful stories. Who was that girl who now became the first pilot of a fighter jet under the Indian Navy? Hard. She worked hard. And now you have a young woman who is a pilot. Indian Navy also has a few aircrafts after all. Army also has some aircraft. Indian Air Force, of course, has plenty of it. So, Vedanta from the beginning has belonged to both women and men. So, I added her, that Radhakrishnan, who brought out this book some 50 years ago or 80 years ago. Times were different. The self indeed is her light, for with the self indeed as the light, one sits, one means he or she, moves about, does one's work and returns. So even when on one level it is the sun or is the moon or some lamp and so on, all of them are actually part of the whole scene, primarily because you are light of lights. And when everything sets, yes, then also that light continues to shine. So Shankara says, Shantayam punaha vachi, gandhadishu apicha shanteshu. So what the mantra had said, walk, speech, also represents the smell or taste or touch, right? So when there's no light of moon or sun or lamp, if you smell something, you know a sense of direction. Then you have knowledge how to go. Gandhadishu apicha shanteshu, bahyeshu anugrahakeshu. because these Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa, Gandha, Aditya, Chandra, Agni, etc. are anugrahaka. They bless you. Literally, anugraha is blessing. What is meant is they make it possible for you to know where you are and to know how to go forward. When all of them subside or are set, or they set, sun sets, moon sets, sarva pravritti nirodha praptaha asya purushasya. This man or this lady, sarva pravritti stops, nirodha. Can't move, can't go back, can't go ahead. Etaduktam bhavati jagrad vishaya bahirmukani karanani chakshuradini. When we are awake in Jagrat state, then eyes and so on, they are able to see their objects when they are blessed by Aditya, Jyoti, etc. Some lamp, sun, moon, anugrahyamana, facilitated. You go into a room, it's totally dark. As you go and wonder, how do I see things here? Your sister comes running, I am coming, and she brings a torch, a flashlight. She turns it on. So in a poetic language, your sister who came running behind you with a torch blessed you, facilitated your seeing. Adityadi jyotirbhihi anugrahyamani chakshuradini tada sputataraha samvyavahara. Clearly you can have all kinds of transactions and interactions. Asya purushasya asyaha mahilayaha yumad bhavati. Evam tavat, likewise, jagarite swa avayava sanghata vyatiriktena eva jyotisha. You have hands, you have legs, you have eyes, you have ears. But the sun out there, the moon out there, the lamp out there is vyatirikta, other than your eyes and ears. And they make possible this business of knowing. Knowing means, figuratively, any knowing is called Jyotish Karya. Because when there is light, you know. Jyotish Karya Siddhi Asya Purushasya Drishta. Tasmat Te Vayam Manyamahe. With regard to all those sources of light, we have this understanding. Now the last slide, I guess. Almost. No, not yet last. So, Sarva Bahya Jyotihi Pratyastamaye Api. When all outer sources, sun and moon, all of them are gone, Swapna Sushupta Kale Jagarite Chatadragavastayam. So take dream alone, for example. Swa avayava sanghata vyatiriktena eva jyotisha jyotish karya siddhirasyeti. Drishyate cha swapne jyotish karya siddhihi. When we are fast asleep, as I already described before, no sun, no moon, no lamp, but you are watching a wonderful Tokyo Olympics, sitting in that gallery. You are watching, who was that? Chopra, Neeraj Chopra throwing the javelin, getting gold, and you were blessed. You watched it. All that light, all that splendor. When you wake up, you smile. How come all that was so well lit up? Shankara gives examples of not Tokyo Olympics, but says Bandhu Sangamana. Sangama is meeting relatives, or Viyoga Darshanam. Where we see that in dream also we meet with relatives, separate from relatives. Deshantara Gamanadi, go places. I gave the example, you went to Tokyo in your dream. And Sushuptacha Utthanam, when you wake up from deep, dreamless sleep, you say, after so many days, I slept so well. Sukham aham aswapsam. Nakinchidavedisham. I didn't know anything. Such wonderful deep sleep. And so on. So Shankara says all that is possible if you are of the nature of light. But the punchline, this is where it gets a bit tough. In fact, I am not going into it. On these next two lines, there is a pretty long commentary by Shankara where Purapakshi asks all kinds of questions, Siddhanti answers. So you may wonder what is there to ask. The point is, Shankara says very emphatically, this light of the pure self is not of the same category or same class or of the same group as sun or moon or eyes or ears or karya, karana. Karya is the physical body, karana is the inner instruments. Antakarana also, dihi. Shankara says all of them only reflect. This has its own light. Therefore, this is a cut above. That's the meaning, Vyatirikta. Punastat shantayam vachi jyoti, kim jyoti bhavati iti. Now, next slide. We see Uchate Atma evasya jyotir bhavati. Letters in blue are from the mantra. Shankaracharya comments on the mantra. Atma iti, you may ask, what does Atma mean here? Well, the self, the Atma Tattva, is Karya Karana Swa Avayava Sanghata Vyatiriktam. It's something other than, Vyatirikta means other than the Sanghata, the coming together, the assemblage of its own parts, Swa Avayava, Karya Karana, the physical body, and then, Shrotram Chakshuhu Sparshanancha Rasanam Granam Evacha Vakpani Padapayu Upasthani, then Mano Buddhi Chitta Ahankara. So these are all pranas, prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. So all of these are karanas. Karya karana avabhasakam. The Atma is the light that illumines all these. Adityadi bahya jyotirvat. See, Jyoti Shabda, though we give name to people Jyoti, in Sanskrit, Jyoti is a Sakaranta Shabda, Jyotis. So in compounds, it becomes not Jyotivat, having light, but Jyotirvat. Rather, Jyotirvat, yes. Jyotirvat. So this is not Matu Pratyaya. This is Vat means like. Adityadi Bahya Jyotirvat. Because in Matu Pratyaya it would have become Bahya Jyotirmat. Because for any vowel other than A and A, Mat comes. Shriman, Dhiman, Ayushman. Only for A and A, Prajnavan. So this Vata is in the sense of like. Jaise. Bahya Jyotirvat Swayam Anyena Anavabhasyamanam Abhidiyate Jyotihi. So this pure self is never illumined by anything else. Anyena Anavabhasyamanam. Avabhasyamanam means this also can be lit by somebody or something. So you take fire, and to know that fire can be part of a larger effulgence, a lamp. I can throw another flashlight and say, here is the lamp. Whereas this can never be the object of illumination by something else. Antastam chatat parisheshyat. Parishesha, parishishta means what remains. And parisheshasya bhavaha parisheshyam. Parisheshyat. Because one after another, all levels are dismissed. So what remains is the pure self. Karya karana vyatiriktam taditi tavat siddham. So Shankara says, for me, it is very clear that the pure self is not just a gradual extension, not another. This is the main point here. Brahma or Atma is not an addition to a series of things. On the contrary, on one hand, it is altogether different. On the other, it is sarva vyapi. Extension means you, in physical sense, you go 10 meters, then you go another 10 meters. Then the last 10 meters is like an extension of the same process. But you go 10 meters, you go another 10 meters, you go another 10 meters, then you say, let's see what space is. Space had included the first 10 meters, the second 10 meters, and the third 10 meters also. Space is not an extension of another 10 meters. So Shankara maintains that the pure self is different from Aditya or Chandra or Dihi or Pradipaha or Chakshuhu, right? All of them. It's a cut above, it's a quantum leap, it's in a totally different camp. In fact, in true spirituality, you actually transcend a whole lot of ordinary morality. Anyatra dharmat, anyatra adharmat, and so on. Karyakarana sanghata anugrahakancha jyotihi tadbahehi chakshuradikaranahi upabganam drishtam. These moon and sun, etc., we are able to see them with our eyes. Chakshuradikaranahi upalabhyamanam. But can we ever see the pure self with our eyes? Can you meditate for half an hour and then come and tell your friends, today I heard the sound of the pure self. It's very pleasant, ting, 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 ting. You are in Brahma. You can't hear the pure self. You can't see the pure self. You can't smell the pure self. The pure self is never objectified by either the mind or the senses, etc. Yattadadreshyamagrahyam, and so on. Now Shankara further stresses this point. Natu tatha tat chakshuradibihi upalabhyate. In the case of sun and moon, etc., while in one sense they are our light, in another sense we are their light, because we see and say to a friend, look, there is sun. So we certify the existence of sun. Look, there is moon. Look how nice it is, and so on. So that doesn't happen with the pure self. Natu tatha atma vishaye tat chakshuradibihi upalabhyate adityadi jyotishu parateshu karyam tu jyotisho drishyate yasmat. However, in deep sleep also, I am. Though we don't need to certify, we don't put the certificate, but Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, doesn't accept any proposition that maybe it is void, maybe it is shunya. No. Shruti pramana, and then what we call such logic which says it could be possible. There's no possibility of logic which says it is so. It is so is Shruti pramana. But what we call sambhava pramana. Sambhava means possible. Logic otherwise has limitations. Some other schools of thought continue to argue. In deep sleep, probably there is nothing at all, not even the pure self. So some Kshanika Vijnanavada, some Buddhist thoughts. So all of them come up in Shankara Bhashyas. And really speaking, if someone can help you, guide you, you can go through it. They are all very beneficial. It's not just scholarship. See, all this can become mere scholarship if you are not living rightly. But if you have a degree of discipline, if you have a degree of honesty, this study can transform you. But if you study and you speak, you write, and you are not exercising alertness in your daily life, then it can be just bookish knowledge. So in this world, there are a lot of bookish scholars also, but there are some in whose case a sustained study has actually freed them of even their weaknesses. Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, etc. Vasanas that have been with them for lives disappear in study. Only thing, you have to give yourselves to the study very sincerely, not just for, oh, I have to give a lecture, so better, what shall I talk about? Not that way. Even if you are preparing for a lecture or writing an article, during that time, give your heart and soul to the study. Then you will find there is such happiness. Why do you have to go for some paltry happiness of sense objects and so on? Your emotional weaknesses, your sensual weaknesses, your intellectual limitations, all kinds of bad habits, all of them will evaporate in intense, sincere study. Therefore, the Veda says, Svadhyayat ma pramadaha. Let us close seeing the last part, Tasmat Nunam, definitely, Antastam Jyotihi iti avagamyate. This is the light within us, and it's not part of the assemblage of parts. Kincha adityadi jyotir vilakshanam tat abhautikam. All these are bhautika, subtle matter or gross matter. Bhubhuta is matter, whereas this is abhautika. It is not matter, it is pure spirit. Sa eva hetuhu yat chakshuradi agrahyatvam adityadivat. Because it is spirit, it is consciousness, it is awareness, it is pure consciousness. That is the hetu. That's why it can never become object of ion. Whereas the sun and the moon and the lamp and the electric lamp and some halogen lamp and these days, CFL lamp and LED lamp and so many things, all of them are bhautika. Therefore, our eyes are able to see them. We look at a lamp and say, yeah, this is the latest, it's called LED lamp. Just 5 watts. It gives so much light as olden days 100 watts bulbs used to give, and so on. You see the lamp. That is because it's all bhautika, some tungsten filament in the old days, and now some new technologies, LED and so on. This is pure self is abhautika. Saeva hetu yat chakshuradi agrahyatvam cannot be grasped by eyes and so on. While aditya and all can be grasped. Aditya adivat atma chakshuradibihi na grahyaha. Adityaha grahyaha, chandramaha grahyaha, agnihi grahyaha, chakshuha api, at least you don't see your eyes directly, but in a mirror you see, or I have these eyes. I opened my eyes, I closed my eyes, I know. We infer at least. I can't see my eyes directly, but I can infer. Atma can neither be inferred nor be seen, and saeva hetuhu in another context, shruti pramanasya avashyakatayai, for the why do we need shruti pramana? Because pratyaksha pramana, anumana pramana, upamana pramana, arthapatti pramana, and anupalabdhi pramana, all of them fail. Therefore, shruti pramana is needed for us to know the pure self. Therefore, this mantra has lot of significance. Om Namah Paramarashibhyo, Namah Paramarashibhyaha. Please feel free